David must marry my spirit. He must marry me. Only then will I be free. Only then will I find peace. I deserve my honor back. They took everything from me. I want to leave this world with something that was mine. Only then will I rest in peace.
Sandra's eyes fluttered open, but darkness still surrounded her. A faint smoky glow came from distance. The air smelled of rotting things thick with incense and old blood. She was lying down as her vision cleared. Panic got to her. The faces she trusted, David's face, smiling like a devil, flashed in her mind. Where am I? She whispered, her voice shaking. The room was massive, a terrifying shrine carved from the rock and death. Skulls littered the floor, eyes staring at her. The chief priest was an older man, tying a red wrapper around him. Sandra was so scared. David and his friends stood silently in front of the priest, their faces pale but determined. They avoided Sandra's pleading gaze. She tried to speak, to beg, but her throat felt dry like sand. Tears blurred her vision. The chief priest began chanting, his voice low at first, then rising in volume. He was circling around Sandra slowly. He spoke in a language she didn't understand, but it chilled her soul. Each word seemed to drain the warmth from the air. He stood beside Sandra and grabbed her chin roughly, forcing her head up so their eyes met, and he said, "You are pure. You are what they need." No, please. David, help me, please. Sandra screamed, struggling. But the ropes cut deep into her skin. David didn't move. None of them did. The priest muttered one last chant, drew a thick line, white chalk across Sandra's forehead, and lifted the blade. Without hesitation, he drove it deep into her chest. Sandra's scream echoed through the shrine, but was swallowed by the dark blood gushed from the wound. As the priest drained it into a large calabash, she gasped. Then her body went still. Sandra is dead. The chief priest stood, lifting the calabash high, and said to them, "Drink," he said in a commanding tone. David was the first to step forward, his hands shaking as he accepted the vessel. He drank, and his throat working hard to swallow. One by one, the others followed, each drinking the blood, their faces twisted with disgust and relief. Their initiation was complete. When the last drop was gone, the chief priest nodded. "It is done." They dragged Sandra's lifeless body out of the shrine, her beautiful face now pale and cold, and they dumped her body in a shallow ditch by the roadside near their old neighborhood. No one saw them, no one heard them. Back in the village, at the same moment, Sandra's mother was walking home from the stream with a pot of water on her head. Without warning, the pot cracked, fell and shattered, spilling water everywhere. She froze, her chest tightened, her heart pounding. She knew something was wrong. Then she whispered, "Sandra, I hope you are okay." At the same time, far away in the city, Olivia was at home washing plates, but one plate slipped from her hands and shattered on the floor. A sharp piece cut her finger, drawing blood. She winced, but then felt a deep dread settling in her stomach. Something was wrong. She couldn't explain it, but she knew. 2 days later, no one saw Sandra. Her phone has not been going through. It was off. Olivia was really worried. Even if they had a fight, Sandra would always pick her calls. But this time, her phone has been off and she has not been home for almost 2 days. Olivia searched everywhere. Even her colleagues at work said she had not reported to work since 2 days now. Olivia then went to David's house because that was the only place she knew Sandra would be. Sandra once told her where David lives. When she got to David's house, his room and house was empty and looking abandoned. He had vanished. She asked the neighbors, but no one seems to know where he was. Olivia knew David must have done something to her friend. She reported Sandra's missing. The police joined. The search was everywhere, but there was nothing. No David, no Sandra, no friends, no clues. 2 days later, a call came in, and Olivia was informed that they have found a body, that she should come and identify it. Olivia rushed to the roadside, where people gathered whispering and pointing. The body lay covered in flies, blood dried and dark on her skin. It was Sandra. Her beautiful friend was gone. Olivia fell to her knees, sobbing uncontrollable. She made arrangements and took Sandra's body to the mortuary. Olivia could not eat or sleep for days. Later, she called Sandra's mother and broke the news to her. Sandra's mother's cry echoed through the village. She collapsed immediately she heard the news. The whole village and family cried. When they brought Sandra home for burial, the entire village mourned. Olivia traveled down too. Everyone was so sad and weeping. Sandra was a good girl and was loved by everybody while growing up. Her death hit everyone, especially her mother and her best friend Olivia. Sandra's body lay cold and pale inside the wooden coffin. Her once radiant face was now lifeless. Her lips dull, her skin drained of its glow. The villagers gathered, whispering among themselves. Sandra's mother stood beside the coffin, her face looking dull, weak, pale, with dried up tears, but her eyes was red from the cry. The priest had finished the prayers. The mourners had wept till they are full. They were about to carry Sandra's body to go bury, but her mother stopped them. She was not done. She brought a long whipping cane and a machete and dropped them inside Sandra's coffin. Then she laid in close to her daughter and said, "My daughter, Sandra, hear me." The wind howled suddenly through the trees, and some of the mourners crossed themselves in fear. She continued, "You died with pain in your heart, betrayal in your eyes. They killed you, my child. They spilled your innocent blood on the ground like water. They thought you would be silent forever." Her voice cracked with rage, and she continued, "But I would not let you sleep. No, you will rise. You will rise in the night, in the day, and in their dreams, in their shadows, and hunt them. You will find the ones that killed you. You will find them all. Their names are written in your blood. Drag them from their beds. Tear their souls from their body. Drink their blood as they drank yours. Do not let them breathe. Do not let them sleep. Let their flesh rot while they are alive, until they beg for death. My daughter, you will be their nightmare. You will be their curse, and you will not rest until their bones are dust and beneath your feet. I send you, my daughter. Go, go, go and draw their blood. Find them, hunt them, and kill them. I, your mother, is commanding you to go. Go, go, my daughter, go. At that moment, the sky darkened. There was a thunder strike, like it wants to rain. A cold wind blew through the gathering. The villagers were scared. Some said they felt something move from the coffin. Sandra heard her mother's words and commanded her spirit to stand. Her eyes filled with rage and burning with anger. She felt her mother's words carved into her soul like the blade that took her life, and she obeyed. 2 months later, David and his friends got what they wanted. The money came fast. It felt like a dream. David and his friends became so rich overnight. New cars, luxurious apartments in Abuja, designers' clothes and expensive watches gleamed on their wrists. The young men who once hanged around street corners now popped bottles in exclusive clubs, flaunting their newfound wealth like kings in a kingdom they never thought they would rule. David especially backed it all. He drove brand new Range Rovers and Lamborghinis and other kinds of cars. He bought one of the most expensive and luxurious mansions and moved into it and was always surrounded by women. They believed they had won. They believed the sacrifice was done and buried, forgotten, like the lifeless body of Sandra that they dumped by the roadside. And the Baba told them that every 2 years they will have to renew their wealth with any woman's blood. No longer a virgin. Life was good, or so they thought. At night, David and his crew were often too drunk to notice shadows watching them. They didn't realize that something had crossed over, something ancient and vengeful. But Olivia did. She had dreams where Sandra appeared standing at a distance watching her, calling her name in a voice that seemed calm. Olivia would wake up cold and shaking, unsure if it was grief or something darker. She wanted to believe Sandra was trying to reach her for help, but deep down she knew it was something else. The hunt had just begun. Chike, one of David's closest friends, was the first to fall. Chike was the widest of them all. The moment money touched his hand, he drowned himself in reckless living. Women, drugs, cars, and clubbing. He had them all, and one night, in his usual hunger for pleasure, he met her. She was stunning. Her skin glowed under the club lights, and her smile made him forget everything else. She said her name was Zara. He couldn't resist. That night, he took her home, thinking it was just another lucky score. But the moment they entered his house, everything changed. As he reached to touch her, she turned. Her eyes were no longer soft, but dark, empty, and endless. Her skin cracked like dry earth. Her lips twisted into a smile, an evil smile. Chike froze. He said, "Sandra!" He whispered in terror. Sandra raised her head and spoke in a voice that was both hers and not hers. "You thought you could kill me and live to enjoy the money you made from my blood. You drank my blood. Now I will drain yours." Chike tried to scream, but it was too late. Sandra attacked him with a machete, dragging him down. He cried, but no one heard. "Sandra, please, I'm sorry, don't kill me," he said. but Sandra fell on deaf ears. In moments, she tore him apart, piece by piece, with the machete, leaving his blood splattered on the marble floors. Sandra's spirit disappeared immediately. She was satisfied with what she did. Chike's body was found the next morning, mutilated beyond recognition. The news spread fast. David and the remaining friends were horrified. They all knew it wasn't something random. They all knew she was behind it. Desperate and terrified, they returned to the shrine to find out what happened to their friend. When they met the chief priest, they explained everything to him and why they have come. But the chief priest shook his head slowly and said, "The girl's spirit is stronger than I thought. I can't hold her back. She wants your blood." David looked terrified. "There must be something, Baba. Maybe a sacrifice, a charm, anything to protect us and to lock her spirits." The chief priest stared at them in silence before finally saying, "I can try, but it will cost you. It will cost you something." Meanwhile, Olivia had another dream. This time, Sandra was closer. Her mouth moved, but no sound came out. Only her eyes spoke. Eyes full of sorrow, rage, and betrayal. Olivia woke up, screaming. She knew something was coming, and it wasn't over yet. Back to the shrine, the chief priest told them what they need for the protection. "Your blood." Without hesitation, they sliced their palms with a sharp blade the priest provided. Drops of their blood dipped into a black calabash. The priest chanted into a language none of them could understand, his voice rising and falling. When he finished, he smeared a strong mixture on their forehead and handed them charms made with beads and told them to wear it always. "You are protected," he said, "but beware. There are spirits whose taste cannot be quenched." They left the shrine that night, thinking they were safe for days. They believed they had outrun Sandra's vengeful spirits, but they were wrong. Uche thought hiding at home was the best option. He bolted his doors, shut his windows, and stayed alone. He thought the chief priest's protection would keep him safe that night. But Sandra came. She appeared in his room, beautiful and calm like she wasn't the ghost of the woman they murdered. He froze, staring at her with wide eyes. You are dead," Uche whispered. Sandra smiled, her voice cold as ice. "You killed me first." Before he could move, she changed her face. It twisted into something horrific, black eyes staring into his soul. Her once beautiful skin turned grey. Uche screamed. She dragged him, slicing his heart with a machete as he begged for mercy. "You drank my blood. Now feel the pain you gave me." She laughed. When he was dead, she dumped his body outside at the roadside in the same way they had discarded her corpse. By morning, people gathered around Uche's dead body. His blood, so dark, licked the whole ground, and fear got everyone in that area. His friends heard about the death and became more scared and confused because they thought the charm would work. Later that night, Kelvin was driving home when he saw a lady. She stood by the roadside in a beautiful white gown, looking stranded and helpless. Her beauty shone in the moonlight, and Kelvin was captivated. He stopped the car and invited her into his car. As they drove, she said nothing for a while, even when Kelvin asked her questions. Then she suddenly whispered, "Why did you kill me, Kelvin?" His heart stopped. He turned around to look at her, but what he saw made him scream. Her beautiful face melted into a decayed visage of death. Her eyes were dark and filled with rage. Sandra laughed, cold and cruel. Now, you must die. Kelvin lost control of the car and it crashed into a tree with a devastating force. A sharp piece of metal pierced his chest. His screams died in a second as his blood spilled out. When the people found his body, it was twisted and broken. Another of David's men was gone, and the friends heard of it too. One of them, named Kunle, wanted to run away from the city that early morning, so he won't be killed, thinking he would escape. As he was packing his bag to leave, she appeared in his room, holding a long cane, and without a word, she began flogging him mercilessly. "Why did you kill me? Why did you kill me?" she screamed and cried in pain, and she kept flogging him. Kunle was screaming for help and mercy, desperate to escape. Kunle ran for the door, but he slipped and fell. His head slammed against the tiled floor with a heavy crack. Blood poured from his skull. Sandra laughed and said, "Blood for blood." Her voice echoed and she disappeared. Later that day, his lifeless body was discovered, and now only David and Richard remained. The news of Kunle's death spread fast. David and Richard sat in silence, their faces pale, drenched in fear. The death wasn't ordinary. Kunle's body was also found on a deserted road, eyes wide open, mouth frozen in a scream of terror. It was the same way they dumped Sandra's body. Richard paced the room, sweating. "David," his voice trembled. "We are next. We are next," he said in fear. David's mind was racing. "We need to go back to Baba," he said finally, his voice shaky and low. "He has to do something. He must protect us." Without wasting time, they rushed to the chief priest's shrine. The place was as terrified as ever. "You have returned," the chief priest said in a deep voice. "Baba, we beg, protect us. She is still hunting us. She's killing us one by one." The chief priest remained silent for a moment, then said, "Her spirit has grown beyond my control. She has tasted blood. She will not stop. Baba, please, we will pay anything." "There is only one way," the chief priest said. "A blood sacrifice. One of you must die so the other can live. It is the only offering powerful enough to appease her spirit. Otherwise, you both will die." David and Richard looked at each other, fear and suspicion clouding their eyes. Neither was willing to offer himself. The priest waved them away. "Make your choice," he said, "or wait for your fate." Far away in another city, Olivia stirred from sleep, breathing heavily. Sweat coated her skin as she sat upright on her bed. She had just dreamt of Sandra again. This time, she had come closer. Her face pale but still beautiful. Her eyes hollow and full of pain. In the dream, Sandra had whispered in a cold, dead voice, "I am out for revenge, for those who killed me." Before Olivia could speak, Sandra had disappeared, and Olivia had woken up with her heart racing. She got out of bed, knelt on the floor, and prayed, "God, please let Sandra find peace, please." But deep down, Olivia knew peace wasn't what Sandra wanted. The next day, Olivia decided to investigate. She started making calls, asking questions. She already suspected David and his friends. She knew they were involved in Sandra's death, but now she was determined to confirm it. Slowly, pieces of the story came together. Their sudden wealth, the strange deaths of David's friends. The pattern was clear. Sandra's spirit was hunting them down. Meanwhile, Richard wasn't sleeping. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Sandra. Her ghost haunted his dreams, her eyes full of pain and rage. One day, after weeks of torment, Richard couldn't take it anymore. Richard locked himself in a room, bolted the doors and windows, and prayed that Sandra wouldn't find him there. But that night, she did. The room turned cold. Suddenly, the lights went off. In the darkness, he heard the faint sound of footsteps, then humming, then her voice. Richard. He turned but found no one. Then suddenly she appeared, but not as the woman she had once known. This was something else. Her skin was pale, her gown stained with blood, her eyes glowed. No, 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 please, Richard screamed. Sandra moved towards him slowly, ropes appearing in her hands. She grabbed him, tied his wrists tightly, then his ankles. He struggled, screaming and begging, but it was useless. She said to him, "How does it feel to be tied up like a sacrificial lamb, ready to be slaughtered?" Richard cried, tears running down his face. "I am sorry. Please, Sandra, forgive me. Have mercy." But Sandra's eyes darkened. She evilly said, "When I begged for mercy, you did not listen." She tightened the rope around his neck and said, "Now I will not show you mercy, for you did not show me mercy when I begged." She pulled hard, strangling him. His body thrashed violently as he choked, struggling for air. His body eventually went cold. Sandra stared at him for a long time, then whispered, "Blood for blood." She disappeared into the darkness, leaving Richard's lifeless body on the bed. Now, only David remained. Everywhere he turned, death stared him in the face. He had watched all his friends die one after the other, and now he was waiting for his own end. But death was taking its time. Sandra wasn't rushing. She had something else in mind. Terrified and paranoid, David kept moving from one hotel to another, hoping he would escape her vengeance. Every night, nightmare followed him. In his dreams, he saw Sandra chasing him with a machete and a long cane, her once beautiful face twisted in rage. Sometimes he dreamed of himself tied up in a shrine, his chest being stabbed again and again, blood gushing out while he screamed for mercy that never came. Whenever he wakes up, he will feel sharp stabbing pains through his chest. His body carried marks, bruises on his wrists and ankles, as if ropes had tied him tightly. Sometimes there were deep red lines across his back, like he had been flogged severely. His neck ached like someone had tried to strangle him. Yet, no one was there. The torments became so unbearable. Desperate for relief, he sought another powerful spiritualist far from the town. The spiritualist examined him carefully, then shook his head and said, "There is only one way out. You must marry her. You must marry her spirit. You must perform both her physical and spiritual marital rites. If you don't, you will remain alive but rot like a corpse. Death will not come for you." David was so shocked at what he heard. He stormed out in anger. He refused to believe it. He thought he could handle things on his own. But things got worse. His wounds and bruises started to decay. His skin peeled, and a terrible smell followed him around. People ran away from him in fear and disgust. Wounds were rotten from the inside, yet still alive and breathing. He cried for death, but it didn't come. One day, as he was going through the city, he crossed paths with Olivia. She stood in his way, glaring at him with disgust and fury. You devil! You killed Sandra! You destroyed her life and now you want to leave! God will punish you! David pleaded. Olivia, I'm sorry. But Olivia was already on her phone, trying to call the police. David noticed and ran away before they could come. That night, Olivia slept and found herself in a dream. Sandra stood in front of her. She looked beautiful. Her face glowed with peace and strength. Olivia froze. Sandra, is this really you? Olivia's eyes filled with tears. Yes, it is me, Sandra replied. I have missed you so much. I have missed you, Olivia replied. I am sorry. I couldn't listen to you. You were always right, Sandra said. Olivia's voice cracked. You didn't deserve what happened. Sandra's eyes darkened for a second. I didn't. That's why I had to make them pay. I had to punish them. But my soul can't rest yet. What else do you need? Olivia asked. David must marry me. Only then will I be free. Only then will I find peace. Olivia hesitated and asked, Are you sure this is the only way? Sandra smiled and replied sadly, I deserve my honor back. They took everything from me. I want to leave this world with something that was mine. Marriage. I will help you, Sandra. I will do whatever I can. You are always my sister, Olivia said. They hugged and immediately Olivia woke up crying. She wasted no time and called Sandra's mother and immediately told her everything that has been going on, the dream and about David and what Sandra wanted. Sandra's mother sighed deeply. Let him come if this is what will make and give my daughter peace, so be it, she said. Meanwhile, David had no choice anymore. He finally agreed to marry Sandra. With Olivia's help, they arranged to return to Sandra's village. Sandra's family was waiting for them, filled with grief and rage. At first sight, they wanted to attack David. But Olivia calmed them down, reminding them of Sandra's request. That night, under the guidance of the spiritualists, the marital ritual began. They gathered quietly in the family compound. David knelt down. Only David and the spiritualists could see Sandra's spirit when she appeared, gloriously, in white, beautiful and calm. She walked slowly towards him. David started crying. The spiritualists performed the marital rites. They offered traditional items. David spoke vows as instructed, his voice shaking. Sandra stood silently, watching him, her expression unreadable. When the rites were complete, Sandra smiled faintly. She stepped back, her image fading gently into the night. It is done, the spiritualist announced. David returned to the city days later. After staying with Sandra's family as he was instructed by the spiritualist, the nightmares and hunting stopped. But his past wasn't finished with him. Olivia had already spoken to the police with the evidence and testimony she provided. David was arrested and was sentenced to life imprisonment. Few weeks later, after David was sentenced to prison, he died in prison. He went to sleep and never woke up. That night, Olivia laid on her bed. She had always spent hours praying and asking God to grant Sandra peace and heal her broken heart. Then sleep came. She saw Sandra looking beautiful in a white gown, her skin glowing. She looked nothing like the last time Olivia had seen her. This was the beautiful Sandra she used to know, so full of life and laughter. Olivia, Sandra said. Sandra, is it really you? It is me. I had to come, Sandra replied. Olivia embraced her and they held each other's hands. I have missed you, Olivia. You are the best friend I ever had, the sister I never had by blood, but always by heart." Olivia snubbed and said, "I am so sorry for everything, Sandra. I tried to protect you. I should have done more." "No, Olivia, you did everything you could. You warned me, but I was stubborn. I wanted to love. I wanted marriage so badly that I ignored you and the signs, but you were always there for me. Even now, you never left me. You helped me find peace. You made sure justice came. Because of you, I am free now." "So, you are really at peace?" Olivia asked. "Yes. No more pain, no more anger. I am free. I can finally go and rest." "I wanted to tell you this, Olivia. You are going to find love too. A love that is pure. A man who will honor you the way you deserve." "I am scared, Sandra," Olivia said. "I know," Sandra said, "but I'll be watching over you. I will make sure you are safe. And when you feel peace in your heart about him, you will know it's me saying yes. I will always be with you," Sandra whispered in her ears. And then she said, "When you have a daughter, name her after me." They both laughed, tears still in their eyes. "I will," Olivia promised. They hugged the last time and Sandra disappeared. Olivia woke up, tears streaming down her cheeks. But this time, it wasn't just sadness, it was peace. Her heart felt lighter, as if the burden had finally been lifted. That same night, Sandra visited her mother in the dream. She apologized for causing her pain. Her mother also apologized for not protecting her. Sandra promised to always watch over her and their family, and thanked her for making her find peace, and also told her to always stay happy, that she is in a better place now. They hugged and she disappeared. Her mother woke up and ran outside to her grave and sat there. Immediately, a white bird came from nowhere and perched on Sandra's grave for some minutes, and then gently landed on her mother's shoulder. She smiled, knowing it was a sign from Sandra. The bird flew away into the morning sky, and her mother stood up feeling peace that she hadn't felt for a long time now. Olivia was more careful than ever. She spent time praying and focusing on her business, keeping a small circle of friends. One afternoon, she met him, a man named Daniel. He was tall, rich, and handsome, respectful and patient. They became friends, but Olivia took her time. She prayed about him continuously. Each time, she felt peace. She remembered Sandra's words when he asked to marry her. Olivia prayed deeply before saying yes. She felt peace and joy again, and she accepted. She knew God was speaking to her. Their wedding was beautiful, simple, and filled with love. Months after their marriage, Olivia became pregnant. When her daughter was born, she held her tiny body close and wept with joy. Without hesitation, she named her Sandra. As she whispered the name into her daughter's ear, she felt warmth. She could almost feel Sandra's presence beside her. She looked up and smiled and said, "I love you, Sandra," she whispered. "Both of you." Her husband kissed her forehead and hugged her. Olivia found love, peace, and she honored her friend's memory by living a full, happy life. Every time she looked at her daughter, she remembered the sister she lost but never really left behind. She lived happily with her husband, loving her daughter, and her husband loving them and taking care of them happily. We have come to the end of the story. Please drop your comments and what you learned and share your opinions about the story in the comment section. I would love to know what you think and what part you enjoyed most from the story. Morals of the story. It teaches us that in life, When we ignore warnings and silence our voice, we may walk straight into danger, just like what happened to Sandra. We should not ignore our instincts and the wise counsel of loved ones. Prayer and discernment are key to protect ourselves from unseen evil or danger. Whatever you sow, you shall reap, no matter how long it takes. Just like how David and his friends chose greed and wickedness over humanity. They took an innocent life, but they paid heavily for it. No peace for the wicked. We should always seek answers, think before acting, be loyal, kind, and prayerful, and smart in whatever we do in life. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and also turn on the notification bell so you won't miss out on any new video. See you guys next time. Bye.